everybody, welcome back to the Almost Sideways channel, and this is a place for movie conversation. Today's conversation is going to be very interesting. I got a special guest joining me, but my name is Adam, and today's special guest is another host of the Almost Sideways movie podcast, and that's Mr. Zach Saltz. Zach, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm excellent, man. I'm like Dirk Diggler, ready to record a session in the 1980s. Let's do this, man. I was born ready.
Heck yeah, let's do it, man. You texted me. Let's do a review about I Care a Lot, the Golden Globe nominee, actually winner now for Best Actress, Rosamund Pike, and kind of an awards contender film, maybe. Who knows? So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I have a lot of things to say about it. I think you do too.
Yeah, I mean, look, Todd has watched this movie. Terry has not seen it. They were not interested in talking about it. My wife fell asleep watching it. I'm dying to talk about this movie with someone, okay? Low-key, I don't actually know that many people have seen it. I mean, it made news this week with the Golden Globes. Maybe more people will watch it, but it is definitely a movie worth talking about, for better or for worse. And I saw your tweet about it and was very intrigued.
Yeah, if you guys hadn't seen it, I might pop a tweet up right there. There we go. Yeah, I thought it was such a promising film to start off, and then all of a sudden it's like one of my most disappointing watches, and I think it's just a little bit of frustration. However, I kind of wound up enjoying it, in a way. It was weird. How about we talk about kind of what the film is about? Actually, let's start off, rewind a little bit. This movie is I Care a Lot, which is a Netflix streaming film directed by Blakeson, starring Rosamund Pike and Peter Dinklage.
And it's not, by the way, just to clarify, it's not like Jay Roach or like Jay Sherman. It's the letter J and then with no period after the J. I find that very curious, and I want to know more about it.
Yeah, that is true. And this is only his fifth film that he's ever directed. The biggest one that he has that went to theater was, I believe, a Chloe Grace Moretz film called The Fifth Wave, which was, I believe, a young adult's adaptation. So take that with a grain of salt. But anyway, I Care a Lot. Rosamund Pike, Peter Dinklage, great cast here. First initial reactions coming from you, Zach, when your gut reaction from the film.
So I gotta say, this movie for the first hour was absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
It had me totally invested in it, and it tells a little bit backdrop. It tells the story of the Rosamund Pike character. Her name is Marla Grayson. And as we begin the movie, she begins with this great monologue about how conniving and cutthroat you have to be to make it in the world. It sounded like Jack Nicholson in The Departed or something. Great way to open the movie, right? And then we find out that the way that she makes her money, this sort of gimmick or grift that she does, is by taking legal guardianship of elderly people, by rigging this scheme where a doctor declares them unfit to care for themselves. So she essentially takes property of their house, their assets, their car, their jewelry, everything. Now, in a weird kind of parallel, I'll pause for a second. I couldn't help but think about the Britney Spears documentary watching this movie a little bit. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but that is all about... It's almost the same issue, except instead of Rosamund Pike, it is Britney's father who has taken conservatorship of all of her assets and has launched the Free Britney movement. Yeah. Do you have any reaction to that, Adam? Have you seen that yet?
I can understand the comparison. I haven't watched it personally, but everything I'm hearing about that, that's a great actually comparison. Kind of an out of box thinking on that, and I think it ties in pretty well. I can't argue with that.
Well, what's interesting about that? So like, the people, and we'll talk about this, but like some people have criticized this movie for being unrealistic, right? Oh, how could this woman devise this scheme and really get away with it? Well, look at Britney's father, okay? There are real world examples here where people get away with this crap every day. So yeah, you do have to suspend disbelief maybe a little bit in the beginning, but it's not that far-fetched that this woman could get away with what she gets away with. Particularly, I don't know where this movie's set, but this could really happen in like Florida, right? This feels like maybe
Florida,
a Florida movie. I don't think it's set in Florida, but it's realistic that it could take place there. And then Isaiah Whitlock Jr. as the judge. I mean, he doesn't say shit anywhere in the movie, which was a big disappointment. But like, he's totally on board with her scheme. He signs off on everything. So anyway, we get this great scheme. So the plot of the movie is, one day, she finds this older woman played by Diane Wiest, who has, by the way, great seeing Diane Wiest again, who lives in this big, expensive house, no relatives, she doesn't have she's retired, apparently has a lot of money. And so she gets in this scheme where she says, hey, I'm now your legal guardian. Come with me. You're going to live at the old people home, and we're taking away your cell phone so you can't call your lawyer. As it kind of goes along, we realize that the scheme that Rosamund Pike has hatched up, along with her partner, Isa Gomez, is she has picked the wrong person. How shall we say? She has gone through this process of picking out these old people and really manipulating the whole system. But with Diane Wiest, she finds out, there's some baggage with her, and she's getting involved with the wrong people. And one of those wrong people is involved with Peter Dinklage, and it kind of all falls apart. Now, I got to say, the setup for this movie was fabulous. I wanted to know about this woman, her plan, her scheme, which I think is very realistic. The way that she presents, Rosamund Pike is tremendous in the first half of this movie. I want to just know more about it. What was your reaction? The first half, the good half.
Whew, man, talk about the most frustrating. It was kind of like really witty. It was kind of darkly witty in a way. It was really snappy dialogue, which kind of resembles Sorkin a little bit. Sorkin, he's really good with that quickie dialogue. It kind of had that really snap witty dialogue that he's known for. Rosamund Pike knocked out of the park. She's smoking a vape, which was the biggest thing.
That was maybe my favorite thing about the movie. This character,
low-key MVP right there. The highest war is that vape.
Absolutely, yeah, that wins the movie. That was perfect.
Exactly. I think this is probably. I was watching. I was like, man, this is Rosamund Pike's second best performance beside Gone Girl. I think would be my personal favorite one. And then it keeps going along, unraveling layers. And I'm doing a lot of my TV's usually right here. My wife's watching it with me, and we're watching it. I'm getting more into it, and you can tell I'm getting more invested because I'm starting slowly doing the chair and arms across the chest, just watch the movie. Right. And it's a lot of sighing and puffing. Right. I'm like, this is frustrating the hell out of me, but I can't I can't look away. I'm like, because I can totally see this happening. I can totally see this being happening. And you feel completely helpless. There is a guy in the film that, the very first person you see that she kind of takes control over before they meet Diane Wiest's character. You really feel for that guy in there. He can't see his mom.
Make it blare.
Yeah. You can't see. He can't see his mom, and he's being tackled out of this old person's home, and because he's not granted access to her, and it's so frustrating to watch it. But it's something that I could totally see happening, and it's just it's and she has the whole her Marla's office, she has all the pictures, all of her wards that she's warded over, I guess, and. Man, it's
great visual.
Imagine all those different those stories and that visual. It's just this jaw dropping. So that was kind of my first initial reaction of the first hour of this. The whole setup to the first hour is that's a 4-star movie right there, because it makes you feel so many different emotions.
And then the second half happens. Now, I don't know if it was the same experience for you. I can't pinpoint a particular scene or moment when this movie went in the wrong direction. I feel like your comparison was good with Aaron Sorkin. I felt like it was a Steven Soderbergh movie. It was very much attacking the hypocritical institutions of American society. There was definitely a "Thank You for Smoking" vibe. That movie, or "Thank You for Not Smoking," the Aaron Eckhart movie.
Eckhart, yeah.
And then when this whole kidnapping plot starts, and this is maybe we'll get into spoilers a little bit, I was like, okay, I'm down with this. It can work. It's kind of going in a Coen Brothers type direction, but it's okay. I mean, this movie also has a bit of The Lady Killers and Burn After Reading in it. I mean, it's hard to deny. But then it just completely abandons the Rosamund Pike character's career storyline, and she turns into an action hero.
Yeah, she becomes Liam Neeson in Taken. And I don't know, Adam. It's and I don't think what we're saying is particularly original. It's been commented a lot by other critics and fans. Why did this movie just feel like it had to abandon this amazing setup and turn into this uber conventional sort of revenge fantasy movie? I don't get it. Yeah, that's
Jay,
one of the things.
Tell us, man. Jay, what is wrong?
Yeah, letter J. Let us know why exactly this happened, because the thing is, when they introduced Peter Dinklage, it's okay. I'm really a big fan of Game of Thrones, and Dinklage is great.
Yeah.
The station agent and a lot of the other like the smaller roles, and then now he's getting like this play like this menacing villain, and I liked that. However, the point of the film is this movie's little like take and turn doesn't work because both the characters are unlikable. They're both villains, so the movie you're not rooting for anybody.
Well, I think they want you to root for Rosamund Pike, but
yeah, of course they do.
I don't want to root for her, not because I don't like her, but I just love hating her so much. I mean, that was when has there been a really great like Nurse Ratched, just terrible antagonist in recent movies? Like it was fun to hate this person in the first half hour. The Macon Blair scene was excellent. I don't know, Adam, if you listened to our Silence of the Lambs podcast, but Terry had the genius idea of recasting Hannibal Lecter as Peter Dinklage, or Peter Dinklage as Hannibal Lecter, and it's funny because I mean he's amazing in this role. And you wouldn't think that. I mean, he's really good in it. Rosamund Pike is good in it. They're interesting characters. Yeah, they're both unlikable. But why is this movie so bad in the second half? Like,
there's a lot of really logical issues for me, and this is where I will definitely put up the spoiler warning because we're going to talk about them. Okay, first off, she gets kidnapped. She has the kidnap scene. Okay, no, they try to. This is where I feel like it truly took a turn for me. Peter Dinklage has the warnings to like get his mother, Diane Weiss's character, out of this nursing home, right? So they send the lawyer, right? The snazzy lawyer.
Good scene.
And then good scene. Yeah, I really love that, his intro. And I think he has a pretty cool character.
Yeah.
Of course, the
Chris Messina.
He goes through the judge and everything. Not the judge. Yeah, the judge. And denied. Okay, cool. We're gonna move on to the next thing. And then it's them breaking in. These three guys, they're three henchmen trying to break into this nursing home. Very cleverly, I think. It kind of makes sense. It makes good logic. The logic's still holding true. And then all of a sudden, these three bumbling idiots get shot in this nursing home. So two of them are dead. One of them gets a bag over by Rosamund Pike, and then. Is that all his henchmen that he had? He's supposed to be like this big mafia guy. What the? Like, you knock three of the guys off in one job. Like, when does that ever happen in a kind of quote unquote mafia type like style? He's supposed to be like some big overlord. So I'm logically like, so you're wiped out, and you can clearly see Diane Weiss. Like, when you have a guy like running over to her and like, if you had another henchman type of thing, you would think, and. So then they go into the next plan, and then that's when they do the kidnapping thing. And you want to comment on that little series of events first before we move on to?
Well, I actually didn't mind that scene. So I thought that was kind of a cool scene with the shootout, and then Diane Weiss she almost gets away. Looking back on it as the movie went along, it's like maybe that was the point.
Henchmen, yeah. It's like, are these only three henchmen? Because I didn't mind it in the moment, but it's like, is that the only three henchmen they got? And then I slowly saw the movie going. It's like, wait, really? That they just wasted all their guys on one job? Like, that's where I was getting a little more frustrating.
Exactly. You just nailed it, Adam. That was my problem. It wasn't even so much the idea of the Russian mob getting involved, although the Russian mob also ruined the end of Training Day too. So, get less Russian mob, please. But the real problem is, why are they investing so much effort on one little old lady? I mean, I get that she is this conduit, but Rosamund Pike just needs to give up at a certain point. She's got 50 other old people clients. Are you telling me that this lady is that much more of a cash cow than everybody else? Now, I get it. Okay, the movie wants to show these action scenes, and we need some excitement in the story. But at a certain point, it becomes inconceivable that either Rosamund Pike or the Russian mob would really have that much of an interest in this situation, seeing as there is a substantial loss of life in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just the henchmen that die, but there's another doctor who dies in the movie, and then there's a scene where Rosamund Pike gets kidnapped, and then she's, they try to fake her suicide, and it's like, why are we going to these extreme lengths? I mean, it just seems ridiculous, It's already a stretch to believe that this vape smoking woman who goes to court can suddenly turn into, Angelina Jolie or something, right? But the fact that all these people are investing so much effort is never fully explained, and therefore I kind of didn't I lost interest.
There's like a disconnect there.
Yeah, exactly.
And moving on to that, when the kidnap scene, they don't just try to fake her death, but also Isa Gonzalez's character, who is Fran, kind of in the relationship with Marla, right?
Right.
So they try to fake her death by having the oven, the typical oven on with the gas leak and everything like that. So you have this kidnapping scene where they put her fake her thing, like what was like Smirnoff or whatever, in like the front seat, and they have her go off the ledge, Marla's character, off into the lake, and she survives. Longest breath, like holding your breath scene of all time, I think, with that constant like strobe light that like would cut in and out. Like obviously you're cutting right on those scenes, but whatever. And then she gets out, goes to the gas station, fixes up inside that gas station with hardly any dialogue, and then she gets back to her apartment via like Uber or taxi to save her girlfriend, which was kidnapped she probably would have been dead in real life, but there was such the time frame and logic doesn't make sense for that. I was like, really? And I was just like, this is becoming stupid. Even my wife, who is a little more forgiving than you and I would be, and even she was like, this is dumb. Like, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the second half of the movie adaptation when Chris Cooper and Meryl Streep, start a relationship and Nicolas Cage goes. It's like it's almost so bad watching it. You almost think, because the movie's so smart in the first hour, that it's just playing everything for a joke or something. Like what is this, like meta or something? Like this movie's way too intelligent for that. And so, it's just a disappointment, because I think the movie wants us to start rooting for Rosamund Pike as some sort of feminist hero who's out to get the villains of this movie. But because we hate her at the beginning, that empathy is sort of lost. I feel like it might have almost been more interesting to show the development, because there's an undercurrent in this movie about how her and Isa Gonzalez are building up their business, right? And they want to sort of take over everything. At the beginning of the movie, they're already successful. Why not show them maybe even a further backstory, like where maybe they're in court with Chris Messina and he wins, and so she's like agitated, and that becomes more like the revenge sort of arc of this story. But can we talk about the ending though, like the last 10 minutes, really, because that's when the movie was just totally like, oh my god.
Yeah, I know. I was like looking at the time of the movie. I was like, how are they going to wrap this up in like 20 minutes that makes sense? And go ahead, talk about the ending.
Well, okay. So the ending of the movie is, okay. First of all, I was actually intrigued by what Jay was trying to do with the story. So instead of Rosamund Pike having to acquiesce to defeat, or Peter Dinklage having to acquiesce to defeat, they're both kind of basically tete-a-tete, right? Peter Dinklage says, you know what? Why don't we go into business together? And Rosamund Pike's like, yeah, that actually could kind of work. And then we get this fantasy where like she's building this global empire where she's the conservator across the country and she's on the television news and all that, and she's a celebrity. I mean, it's a little far-fetched. At this point, I've lost interest in the movie. I'm kind of intrigued by it. Okay, whatever. But then the Macon Blair character shows up again, and he shoots and kills her. Why? What is the point of that? Jay, come on, man, tell me what are you trying to do there? Have you really just you're trying to now make it like a Jesus allegory? Like she has to sacrifice herself? Are we supposed to feel bad at the end of the movie? I feel bad for Macon Blair. I mean, he kind of had a good point in the first half hour of the movie. I feel like it's a screenwriter who ran out of options at the end of the movie, and again was just going for broke in those last 45 minutes.
Yeah, that is very true. But I secretly kind of liked it because I'm like, yes, finally something that made sense could have happened, because we've had so much like at the last 45 minutes of the movie logically didn't even add up. Like it didn't make sense. Like even if they went into business for themselves, that's where I kind of in hindsight was frustrated, because she captured him so easy. Peter Dinklage's character, that is, so easily out of his own building.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was an absurd scene, like in the parking garage. Then, I mean, by that point,
and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're a John Doe.
But
Yeah, And that exactly. And it's like now you're a John Doe, you can't talk, and it's like oh my, and then she became. I'm
and
like,
then
watch
she's
this, honey. I was like, watch, she's gonna be his war, like in charge of it, and that's exactly. I'm like, it's like, oh my god, I was like, really? I was like, really? Wow. And then at the end when she dies, I was like, yes, I'm on board again, because I'm like, well, because of course this movie did that. That's exactly why.
I don't know. I was expecting like a Thelma and Louise-esque montage at the end, or like that stupid Pay It Forward Haley Joel Osment movie. Like, let's give him like a nice montage. Oh, she lived such a great life. I felt like that's what the movie was trying to say at the end, which was just perplexing and confusing. But okay, I did a little bit of research for this movie. I have to tell you. So this movie has the biggest split between critics on Rotten Tomatoes and audiences on Rotten Tomatoes that I have ever seen. Okay, now for context, Ghostbusters, the Melissa McCarthy Ghostbusters, 74% critic approved, 50% fan, 24% difference, right? Captain Marvel, 79% approved by critics, 45% fans. I Care a Lot, 80% of critics give it a thumbs up. 37% of fans give it a thumbs up. That is a 43% difference. Now, maybe there's other movies out there that have a bigger split. I bring this up because it is the final kind of perplexing thing about this movie. I feel like this movie is getting trashed by the fanboys out there who don't like the idea of Rosamund Pike being someone who can kick ass. And they're misogynistic and they're sexist, and I buy that. I feel like we can still have these criticisms of the movie while simultaneously acknowledging that the fan reaction to this movie is unfair. If you go on the IMDb user review page, it is 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10, just rows and rows of it. It makes me kind of like the movie more. Because...
one last thing. I found one that's super big difference.
Okay, what's
and
that?
When you said, you said exactly right, the fanboys... It doesn't get any more bigger fanboy than one franchise. That's Star Wars. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. 90% a critic, 42% fan.
Oh, wow!
With which 100,000 plus reviews from fans supposedly.
You found it. You found the bigger division. That is amazing.
But those other ones, exactly though, a lot of people just automatically hate on it, and those are like Ghostbusters, gets brought up, Captain Marvel, and The Last Jedi, because they just go in and trash those movies for whatever reason. Sometimes there was even accounts where bots will go in, they like set up bots for these movies to trash. So anyway,
this movie's not a bad movie. It's not a 1 out of 10 movie. For me, it's a solid 2.5 star movie. That is one of the more schizophrenic experiences I've ever had, because the first hour was so amazing and the last hour was so predictable and derivative. And it's not a bad movie. The fan reaction makes me want to like it more. I really like Rosamund Pike in it. It's a disappointment in how great it could have been. Absolutely.
And that's where I'm at. I'm kind of in that same realm for you. I do give it a positive, the 3, because the ending was just like, yeah. I was like, finally, but because the first hour, you don't understand how good it is until you actually watch it, because it makes you feel like the roller coaster of emotions. And then it drops down to like a 2-star movie. And I was like, because you have to, the first half still has to come play with that second half. But then I was like, okay, I'll just give it the 3, because I'm like, where do I put it? It's 2.5, 3 stars. I'm like kind of floating in between those, depending on that. But I think you kind of nailed hit it right on the head. Is that the fanboy reaction of how much they don't like it kind of makes me kind of want to just give the positive.
Oh yeah. So America, listen, okay. Rosamund Pike won a Golden Globe for this movie. That's a bit extreme, but okay. I don't see her getting an Oscar nomination. That would be kind of crazy. But you heard us here on the Daily Notes on the Almost Sideways podcast. Watch this movie until the break-in at the Senior Home Center. And then go do something else. Come back at about the hour and 40-minute mark to watch Macon Blair make a great reappearance. By the way, Macon Blair is like the Harry Dean Stanton of this generation. Any movie he makes is automatically better with him in it. And just, don't watch the second part. You've seen it before.
Yeah.
There's no point.
I've seen it, and Yeah, we should have seen it done better too. So, yeah, I was gonna. What's her odds that she gets nominated though? I know you said she doesn't, but this year's kind of weird. It's a weird year.
I mean, I'm now kind of rooting for it because of the fanboy reaction. That would be fun to watch. Pissing off fanboys is always jolly fun. But sadly, I don't know if I see it. I think it's a little too stacked this year.
Yeah, this year's it's a weird one. But Rosamund Pike, though, any other year, it's just a fantastic performance. Even though the movies around her is kind of shambles. Her performance was like her spin in like a James Bond movie that she did. That would have been a little different. But this one's actually on top tier Rosamund Pike performance. This is definitely on the Mount Rushmore of Rosamund Pike performances, I would think.
My favorite Rosamund Pike performance was one of her early performances in the movie Barney's Version, where she plays Paul Giamatti's third wife. She's great in that movie.
There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that's a good performance. I'm a big fan of the Gone Girl movie. I know that you have interesting things to say about that one too. You were the biggest fan.
Look, the fanboys have seen Gone Girl too, and they know who Rosamund Pike was in that movie, and maybe that is influencing how they view her in this movie and their user comments on IMDb. I'm just going to put that out there. Conspiracy theory.
It's out there. Now it's out there. All right, guys. Well, that's our thoughts on I Care a Lot, and we do care a lot about what you have to say. So let us know in the comments section down below on this. Smart, huh? YouTube video right now, and let us know. We'll meet you down there in the conversation, because that's the Almost Sideways is the place for movie conversation. My name is Adam. And this is my co-host today, Zach Saltz. Zach, where can we find you on social media? I'm
at pro_Zach36 #influencer. Just keep influencing out there, folks. You know, keep watching the good stuff, fighting the good fight. I'm driving 4 hours tomorrow to buy some out of print Criterion, so that's the #influencer life right now.
Absolutely. And also make sure you check out the Almost Sideways movie podcast on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and Pandora. Until next time, we'll see you later.